Monday, June 7th. Last week, I awoke to find Oliver, the AL foreman, directing a truck and trailer how to back up in a tight space. He needed to be on the north side, but Oliver didn't want him to run into the big green transformer. Looking out from our balcony, the assisted living building is mostly gray now with the undercoat. Remember Wenshow? Just as quickly as he added the gray undercoat, he's now applying the color undercoat before the final stucco is applied. As I watch Wenshow, it seems like the hardest part is as he changes levels on the scaffolding to feed his sprayer in among all the metal paraphernalia before he starts painting again. Later in the day, Wenshow has gotten down to the end by the solarium. It sure goes quickly compared to doing it by hand. Skytrack brings in heavy buckets of the stucco that will be the next application on the AL building. Hopefully, it doesn't get stuck in the mud. Crew had experimented with spraying on the gray undercoat, but they tried several times and weren't having success to get the colored stucco applied. Finally, they decided to resort to the old-fashioned hand application, so they mixed the buckets and got after it. They work quickly, even doing it by hand, when all three levels of the scaffolding have people applying the lighter colored stucco. After the stucco had dried for a day, Alonzo took off the plastic and tape and was cleaning all those windows. Later that same day, I found a worker knocking off the excess stucco around the openings for the vents and then adding the silver cover plates. Crew continues working along the retaining wall. Today they were compacting the soil and filling low spots. Black planks were nailed to the retaining wall. Then these were covered by plastic, which would keep the wall clean when concrete was being poured. Rumbling below my balcony let me know the concrete truck was here, and they steadily filled the trough. But the curbing is all created by hand. Chris Madigan took this picture through the fence by door 3. That's a long stretch to make curbs from gate 8. Another morning, Oliver was troubleshooting on the phone, and 2 of his guys were cleaning up the site by the solarium. I was excited to see the cleaning process continuing. This worker was hosing off the windows and the lower level of Mikasa. In the afternoon, I heard banging and clanging and crashing and looked out, and a worker was throwing things off the roof after they completed work up there. I shook my fist and said, "If you don't stop that, I'm going to throw water balloons back at you." He just laughed and continued to throw trash off the roof. Later, it was all piled up and ready for Skytrack to bring a big dumpster and haul it off. Speaking of Skytrack, it delivered a load of cabinets for the AL building, probably for the first floor Mikasa apartments. Walking up the street on the south side, they have leveled and compacted the backfill of the retaining wall. Don took this picture of them making curbing for the 4 parking spaces across from the assisted living atrium. Closer up, I can tell it's my concrete buddies from the 4 a.m. mornings. A resident asked us to fix this sawhorse that had been run over and really wouldn't stand up anymore. An hour in the wood shop, and it was back to being functional and strong. Looking toward the north, I can see my crew working on the white styrofoam for the IL building now. Flowers up in front of Alta Vista are glorious in the sunshine. They create a cheerful greeting for anyone going in the main entrance of Alta Vista. Standing on the casita wall, I watched as the little cat began to clear away the thrash and start to level the roadway, getting ready for asphalt. Big Cat is starting at the north construction gate and making pass after pass to level the roadway to the height that needs to be. I am excited to see the windows installed on the north solarium. They still have to have an opening to get supplies into the building. Looking down where the casita wall meets the retaining wall, I see they have poured a concrete pillar for new light poles. Moving farther west, I see a second concrete base for a light pole. Farther west near the big green transformer is a third pole. It's going to be quite bright over there. Checking up higher, the storage units have been taped and bedded and have door frames installed. Even higher than that, a few final patio roofs are getting their surface applied. I believe the sliding glass doors are new on the north side of the IL building. Looking in the north construction gate, I see big equipment that has been working on grading the roadway. Little Cat's job is to stir and mix sand and gravel to create the road bed before asphalt is laid. Big Cat's job is to smooth out the sand and gravel and level it according to the plans. On the south side of the IL building, the pile is growing as the level is changing and getting rid of excess dirt. Weather this week has been pretty iffy, rumbling and lightning and storms and rain out of a dark sky. Then days of gorgeous blue skies and just a little gray under the puffy clouds. Up by the casitas, desert willows are blooming and shifting in the wind. I love that color. On the funny side, some good advice from the bitty kids. Do not use peanut butter as body lotion or sunscreen. It just does not work. This sweet baby found out that eating noodles is sort of difficult, and she's not sure she wants to try them with sauce next time. COVID restrictions might have relaxed, but I don't think we're to the big sloppy kiss stage yet.
Hi, from here at Independent Living. Look at those piles of stone down there on the left. They're working on the base for the road bed, and they've pretty much completed the refilling of the retaining wall. The roadway is nicely outlined by the gutters and curbs, and they seem to be pretty well completed. Otherwise, things seem to be very similar to last week. The roofs around the top-level patio floors are all sealed and ready to go. Windows and doors seem to be installed, except for the storage areas. There are no moose on the roof, and the tracks seem to be fading out, so I guess the surveillance system is working. Duh! Hip! That wasn't me, that was Wilbur, what is known in the trade as a hiccup. It's just a normal part of Wilbur's personality. The hatch is open, and here on the south side, work on the white insulation is slowly progressing. There's Block Monster, and down beside him is a broomstick. Do you suppose that's what he rides around on at night when he's out causing trouble? It's Wednesday, June 9th, 10 a.m., 80 degrees. It's sunny and smoky from Arizona wildfires. Now our long last look. Each week we start by checking on Ingenuity. This week she is recovering and prepping for her 7th flight. The goal of this flight is to move 350 feet south and land in a new unscouted base. More news about this later. The main topic this week is spin. That is, mostly we consider ball spin in sport. More specifically, for now we study the curveball in baseball, which is a very confusing topic. The physics is easy. The English language and slang terminology is maximally confusing. Well, maybe that's its purpose. First, the physics. Last week, we saw the airflow around a ball. When the ball is not spinning, airflow around the ball is symmetrical, and there are no forces on the ball to make it curve. When the ball spins, the airflow is pulled around the ball, so the airflow is non-symmetric. The air flows further around the ball in the direction of the spin, and the airflow is directed to the side in the wake of the ball. This is a classic Bernoulli's principle situation. The result is a force or lift directed opposite to the directed airflow tail. So the ball curves in that direction. So much for physics. Now back to baseball. Let's talk terminology. Keep in mind that sport terminology is more about mind games than about physics. First, let's talk about a fastball. A fastball is thrown hard and fast, more than 90 miles an hour in the major leagues. It is thrown with backspin. It appears to rise, but it doesn't. In softball, this pitch is called a rise ball. It has just as much spin as a curveball, but because it's fast, it doesn't rise as much. In contrast, a curveball is thrown slow, about 65 to 80 miles per hour. It is thrown with topspin. It curves mostly downward. It usually doesn't curve sideways very much at all. It really sinks, but it is not a sinker ball. That's something else. The fastball accounts for 60% of pitches in Major League Baseball. The various kinds of curveballs account for about 30%. Most of the rest are changeups. What is a changeup? What is a slider? Knuckleball? Screwball? Spitball? Well, a slider is sort of like a curveball. The rest are oddballs, rarely used. More about all of this that you're very interested, I can tell, next week. Right now, back to assisted living. But first, breaking news. Ginny just completed her 7th flight. This picture was taken just before landing. Congratulations. Here at Assisted Living, the sidewall on the south side is pretty well done. You can see they are working on the curbing. It's pretty much in progress, defining the parking areas, and you can even see where the sidewalk's going to go. That drainage area down at the west end is still in progress, and it seems to be a problem. Here, just like over at Independent Living, the retaining wall seems to be entirely backfilled and being used. Here in the lobby area, it looks about as usual, pretty well finished, but a pile of stuff of some kind piled up outside, waiting to go inside. So let's jump over to the back. And the back, that is the north side, looks pretty well the way it did last week, pretty well completed. As we come around the west end, we can see that the bump out area still has yellow showing through, so there's still some work to do on that. And finally, as we come down and look down the long roadway, we can see that it's been graded and looks pretty well ready for that stone and the paving. See you next week.